Good morning, this is Matthias here again from Future Fast Forward. Today, I want to focus on a very important issue in relation to the criminality, the scumbags that are involved in the 1MDB money laundering and corruption scandal. Following the expose of the 1MDB scandal and following the press conference of the Attorney General of the United States of America, Loretta Lynch, there is a horrendous silence by the so-called champions of religion, the so-called champions of our country, and champions of a community, that they will be the protectors, the guardians of religions. And yet, on the most critical issue of the spiritual, moral degradation, subversion of the soul of our country, they remain silent and they indulge in hollow propaganda. I think it's very important for the entire country to realize that the past 10 days, what has been bombarded or being bombarded people of Malaysia is nothing but hollow propaganda, especially by the Prime Minister and echoed by the so-called leader of the Islamic Party, Hadi. And the main thrust of that propaganda is that there is a US interference in the political affairs of our country. And may I just, before I continue, bring to you the essence of the hollow propaganda of the Najib regime. If I may, can you please focus on these words, and may they be tattooed into your minds. When your output, that is the propaganda, is bullshit, when you churn out trash, realize that those output are empty, devoid of substance. Those involved in those propaganda are indulging in intellectual masturbation. And this describes well the rhetoric and hollowness of UMNO politicians running on empty tanks. Alright? This is the essence of hollow propaganda. Why do I say that? Simple. You have, in my previous address, heard how I expose the hollow and emptiness of Sharizat and Sabri Chik. But following from those empty sounds or thunder, no rain, and not learning from their stupidity, another minister has come to the fore. An idiot, another scumbag. He is the minister Ramadan. And this is what he says. If I may read to you, when we read the 136-page document, we find that it was based on a Sarab report, which has a heavy political agenda against the government BN and Prime Minister. So our concern is why the DOJ of the United States did not call the 1MDB to verify. At least give the other side of the story. This is the only question why you go to the court and tell the whole world of your story when it's not completed. These are the so-called words of Rahman Dahlan, minister. There's not one shred of proof, of evidence that the FBI, the Internal Revenue Services of the United States of America, the AG of USA, the entire team, the AG of California as an entire team, filed a complaint for seizure of assets, relied on the Sarawak report. Where is the evidence? Is there any reference to the Sarawak report in the 136 pages of the complaint filed in court? On the contrary, all the evidence are clear-cut, and it was verified at the last page of the complaint by the special agent, the FBI agent, that every paragraph, every statement, every fact, every evidence in the 136 pages of the complaint is dependent on the US government documents. Are other documents available openly? Expert witnesses, other witnesses, and other agents and officers of other investigating agencies will rely upon, and that he himself, the special agent, was conducting investigation, and he swore on the pain of perjury that every statement was true. And yet this idiot, Rahman Dahlan, this idiot, has got the audacity to say, without any evidence whatsoever, and without daring to swear on pain of perjury, that what he said, the allegation made in the press statement is true. He just made a sweeping statement that shows the irresponsibility, the hollowness, the emptiness of his propaganda. That's why I say it's hollow. Another loyal but not smart crony of Najib, but worse still, like his other colleagues, Shahrizad and Sabri Cheek, mentally retarded, mentally lazy, because all they do was study every line, every paragraph, every page of the complaint, seek advice from the Attorney General, seek advice from UMNO lawyers, and there are plenty of UMNO lawyers within the MKT Supreme Council, fellow ministers who are lawyers by training, Azalina, Nazri, etc. Yet he came up with this horrible statement. And you know why he's so stupid? Because mentally they're all retarded. Now let me tell Malaysians all over the country, forfeiture assets, the way it's done, it's not something unusual. Like I said, it's to prevent the culprits, the criminals, the rapists, the financial rapists, from dissipating, removing, hiding the assets. In Malaysia, in civil cases, I can guarantee you on my life, I repeat, I can guarantee you on my life, as opposed to Rahman Dahlan, Shahrizad, Sabri Cheek, and the Prime Minister who wouldn't dare swear on their life. I'm not doing it to you. I'm saying the whole country. I'm going to swear on my life that what I will say in the next 1 minute is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because in Malaysia, in civil cases, we know a potential defendant is absconding, hiding, embezzling, removing assets, the subject matter of a claim by a plaintiff, and like the US Attorney General, the plaintiff and the lawyers can go to court on an application, ex parte application, it means on its own application, without the knowledge of the defendant, go to court before a judge with an application and an affidavit to apply for what we call, read this, a bereavement injunction, together with the ante-pillar order. The effect of the bereavement injunction and the ante-pillar order is similar to the civil forfeiture of assets that took place last week and effected by the Attorney General of America. The bereavement injunction, as the word implies, injunct, is to stop a potential defendant from removing money from the accounts or assets or selling or disposing assets. The injunction claims all the assets and prevent all this devious maneuvering. And the ante-pillar order is an order which allows the applicant to seize documents, make discovery, so that essential evidence will not be destroyed. So we have two very powerful, what I call legal nuclear weapons, the bereavement injunction and the ante-pillar order, to help a plaintiff before the case starts, right? Before the actual hearing of any case, without the knowledge, emphasize, without the knowledge of the defendant, to go to court and ask a judge. And of course, there must be an affidavit or oath to support application. And the applicant must give an undertaking that if what they do is incorrect, what they say in the affidavit, in the application is incorrect, they can be open to damages for wrongful seizure, for wrongful injunction. Alright? So this idiotic Abdul Rahman Dahlan, had he asked and made some inquiries among some Muslim lawyers within UMNO, he will know that a civil procedure is allowed. Nothing unusual. Even a defendant need not be consulted. Okay? Then of course, when the order is served on the defendant come to court to challenge the bereavement injunction, to challenge the ante-pillar order in the full hearing. And this is what's happening. It's going to happen in America. The assets have been seized now, and I said in my previous address, they have 30 days to go to court to challenge the seizure, as a defendant has the right to challenge the injunction. Alright? In a full hearing, what we call in Latin the inter partes hearing. Inter partes means between two parties. But the original application before the court is what we call ex parte application, on the own movement, own motion of the plaintiff. And this is so important. You see the lies, the misrepresentation by a minister. And this minister has a very interesting background. He's got a lie, you know why? I got a propaganda because he was previously a political secretary. And knowing these people, their background, I can show you all they're good at is propaganda. And of course, they are political secretary and political secretary. Okay, let me tell you, I was a political secretary before for Tun Mahathir when he was prime minister. And let me tell you, I don't spread false news. I've never spread false propaganda. And I was never a project secretary. You know, to get projects approved, to give Surat Sokong, to make money, to be corrupt. I served the country with honor, integrity. And I challenge people to scumbags like Rahman Dahlan to dare prove me wrong. That when I was a political secretary to the Prime Minister, I serve with dignity and I did not spew lies and propaganda like he's doing now. Okay? Now, without move from Dahlan to the Prime Minister, you will recall that recently on the 20th of July, at the Supreme Council meeting, he said in a press conference following the Supreme Council meeting that the matter was brought before the Supreme Council and they took note of the complaint. And this is what it was said by Najib in the press conference. And I'm going to read to you the essential parts. Okay? It says here, the comments by Najib in the press conference following the Supreme Council meeting. It is unprecedented for a report like this to be given such publicity. Usually it's private and kept low-key. But now it's been made a big deal. On the surface, it will appear that it came from certain sources. We will observe the proceedings that follow suit. I can't say for sure whether it came from, but definitely not from the government or the Attorney General. We are not involved in it. However, urge those named to clear the names. Najib added that no legal action would be taken against the DOJ, but said the DOJ should have sought input from one MDB or Malaysian authorities. Okay? So this is the magical words of Najib. He went on to say that one MDB is not directly involved in the report. One MDB is not directly named in the report. In other words, one MDB has no assets in the United States. So this is the essence of the stand of the Prime Minister on the complaint by DOJ. Why was there such a big publicity? Usually it's very low-key and unreported. But what was the basis for Najib in that propaganda ploy to say previously such crimes when committed was never reported? Low-key, bullshit, horseshit, and a load of crap. And as stated by the Attorney General Loretta Lynch, the complaint is the largest case of money laundering, fraud and corruption ever effected by US States of America. Alright? The largest. And why should it not bring to the attention to the whole world? Because the assets was not just in America. The seizure took place in UK as well and in Switzerland. So therefore, if England authorities and Switzerland authorities assisted in the seizure, how can they then say USA is interfering in the political affairs of Malaysia and forgot about UK and Switzerland? This is an international crime, a sordid crime. Okay? And he says, well, I'm not even named. One MDB is not even named, even indirectly. Lies, damn lies, and bullshit. And I will explain that in more detail later. And guess what? When that expose, a press report was announced and published, the complaint, one MDB made a statement, and the auditors, Deloitte, that the audited accounts for the year 2013 and 2014 is no longer reliable because the facts, the figures, the accounts that was given to the auditors and sworn to be true by the directors as fair and true was incorrect. Now for the auditors, Deloitte, having signed that the accounts they audited was fair and accurate at that time in 2013, 2014, and now say they are not reliable because of the findings, the allegation and the facts of the DOJ complaint, it means that Deloitte is saying we have been misled. We were given false information, false statements and false accounts. That is effect. And yet, Raman Dalan and the Prime Minister and the entire MKT of Supreme Council, the real power in this country, those scumbags, they keep quiet in the light of all these facts. Disgraceful, shameful. It exhibits, right, absolute cowardice, absolute moral degradation, absolute hypocrisy. Not only are they loyal but not smart, they're also stupid, mentally retarded, and devoid of any moral values. They are finished. They're beyond redemption. And they must face God ultimately. Come what may in this country, come what may, they have to answer to God Himself. Because the ultimate punishment will be given by God. Now, recently I was given the attention of an article by another scumbag who posted an article, 6 parts, about one MDB. This guy was previously a high-powered deputy UMNO youth who was then sidelined during the dispute with Anwar. His name is Dr. Wan Muhammad Hazni. And like his former colleagues, Rahman Dalan and all his people, this is what he says. Now, I want you to focus on this and let this, because the lies now are not only by the regime, by their mouthpiece, even for ulterior motive, lies are being perpetrated by has-beens from the other camp. He says what? One NDB can be saved to benefit the country. One MDB is an acceptable business model. One MDB should not be politicized. And I read the actual word he used. The biggest mistake of how we all treat one MDB affair is to politicize it. So he's saying, if the country did not politicize one MDB could be saved and benefit the country. That kind of rational thinking is built on a foundation of sand. And his 6-part article conveniently forgets or ignores the essence and the modus operandi of the one MDB is criminal in nature, criminal in the essence of money laundering, fraud and corruption of the entire financial scam. Okay? And yet, this so-called Dr. Wan Muhammad Hasni, who has a PhD, I was told, alright, in risk management. His PhD is entitled, Can Risk Be Prized? He was at one time the founder of the Abba Group when he was aligned with Anwar. Okay? And he said, guess what he said? The problem is providing government guarantees to business venture is the root of problems. Not corruption, not money laundering, not fraud. But government guarantee is the root of problems of our country and to what MDB. I mean, can you imagine this crap? There's nothing wrong with giving a government guarantee. That's why you have sovereign loans, sovereign guarantees, nothing wrong with it. In every business, there's corporate guarantee. Guarantee itself is not a root of the problem. It's how you conduct your business. If the basis of business fraud is criminal, it doesn't matter whether it's a guarantee or not. The starting point is criminal. But if the business starting point is genuine, honest, moral, then it doesn't matter whether it's a guarantee or no guarantee, because the starting point rests on sound foundation. Scumbag, and he called himself, right, a doctor, PhD from the Iowa University. You know what I call PhDs? Such PhDs? Phony donkeys. I repeat, those who have PhDs and come with this crap 6-part article and say there's nothing wrong with MDB. Don't politicize it. When the essence of what MDB, as disclosed in the DOJ complaint, is the essence. The substance of what MDB is fraud, is money laundering. Don't ignore it. Ignore the politics. Ignore the criminality. Ignore the immorality. MDB can be saved. Let me tell this scumbag and all those scumbags who subscribe to his view, alright, fat hopes will come after these kind of scumbags, the criminals associated with MDB, and bring them to justice. And bring them to justice. That's why I say at the beginning of my address this morning, what's happening now to our country is, right, total moral bankruptcy. And evil has emerged. The evil of a corrupt, unrepentant leadership. Now, before I go further, and to make sure that people understand the extent of the corruption, the extent of the evil, I will again revisit some of the facts in relation to what MDB. Because the scumbags, the political hacks, the liars in UMNO says that, look, the money that has been dissipated or misapplied was those monies that was borrowed by way of a bond issue from Goldman Sachs that was paid to a subsidiary of IPIC, the Abu Dhabi Investment Company, okay? And now, what MDB is having an arbitration dispute hearing in London to prove that IPIC cheated what MDB. And it's those crooks that diverted the money from what MDB. Therefore, the Prime Minister, the officials of what MDB is innocent. And the arbitration in London between what MDB and IPIC was established beyond all doubt that Najib is innocent. Jolo is innocent. The officers of what MDB are innocent. They are pure, virgin, innocent. Please be patient. But they forgot. You see? See, when you lie, when you tell a lie, you need another lie to cover the first lie. And you need another lie to cover the second lie. And it goes on and on. In essence, a lie cannot cover another lie. Let me prove to you. Because monies were already stolen, defrauded, laundered in the first instance, in the first transaction. When one MDB entered a joint venture with the Petro Saudi Arab crooks. So even before the so-called JV or collaboration with IPIC of Abu Dhabi and ABA, these scumbags, these crooks, these rapists already took the money in the first transaction, which I have stated earlier. But let me repeat it because these scumbags continue to try to confuse you and tell lies. So let us be very clear. This is paragraph 5, page 5 of the complaint. And I'm going to read to you slowly. Because I'm going to focus on the first transaction. To demolish the allegation, the assertion that the money was stolen by IPIC and not in the first transaction. This is a civil action in RAM to forfeit assets involved in and traceable to an international conspiracy to launder money misappropriated from one Malaysia, Devon Berhad, a strategic investment and development company wholly owned by the government of Malaysia. And yet, the president says, right, one MDB is not mentioned, only indirectly, not involved. Okay. The United States seeks forfeiture of property located in the United States and abroad, including in the United Kingdom and Switzerland, pursuant to 18 USC 981A1C, on the ground that it was derived from violation of US law, and pursuant to 18 USC 981A1A, on the ground that its property involved in one or more money laundering offences in violation of 18 USC 1956 or 1957. I said it earlier, right? Not just America. Forfeiture only took place in UK and Switzerland. So how can he dare say US is interfering in the political affairs of Malaysia, where this is an international crime across all borders? And thus far, initially, they have seized only assets in USA, UK, and Switzerland. And now, okay, let's talk about the first stage of the money laundering. Para 41, page 14, the key paragraph I'm reading to you now. Both 1MDB board of directors, direct reference, scumbag, UMNO, scumbag PM, don't say it directly, direct reference. Both 1MD board of directors and Bank Negara, Malaysia Central Bank, approved the transfer of 1 billion in a joint venture. However, as set forth in greater detail in the sections that follow, Low and his associates caused 700 million of 1 billion that was to be invested in a joint venture to be sent to account at RBS Coats Bank in Zurich, held in the name of Good Start Limited, Good Start account. Para 42. Between May and October 2011, approximately 330 million in additional funds were wired at the direction of 1MDB officials to the Good Start account, purportedly in connection with financing agreement executed between 1MDB and 1MDB Petro Saudi. So how can you say there was no direct reference? Tell me, But 1MDB, direct reference. And then it says, further, officials at 1MDB caused this diversion of funds by, among other things, providing false information to banks about the ownership of the Good Start account. Contrary to representations made by 1MDB officials, the Good Start account was beneficially owned not by Petro Saudi or the joint venture, but by Low Tik Jo, a Malaysian national who had no formal position with 1MDB, but was involved in its creation. Lau laundered more than 400 million of the funds misappropriated from 1MDB to the Good Start account into the United States, after which these funds were used for the personal gratification of Lau and its associates. Direct reference again to 1MDB, direct reference to the criminality. Okay? And then, some says, right? See, he says, doesn't involve the money. See, the money has been stolen. Surely we would expect the government, the Prime Minister, to say, now that money has been stolen, we will go after the stolen money. But he says what? The Prime Minister, UMNO Supreme Council, 10th of July, sat and deliberated and says, nothing. Nothing happened as usual. It's okay. How can you imagine that? Here is an accusation. 1MDB money has been stolen, money laundered, to Jolo into his personal account. Okay? Now, the deviousness in 2009, the deviousness. Not sometime later with IPIC. This started at the very beginning. Like I said, from the very word go, from the very word start, the entire modus operandi, the substance was criminal. Fraud. And all these scumbags are criminals, financial rapists. Let me quote to you, paragraph 44, page 15. RBS Coast Bank account records indicate that Good Start Limited was formed in the Seychelles in May 18, 2009. The sole director of Good Start is listed as Smart Power, of which Low is the sole director. Low is listed on the bank records as Good Star's secretary. Smart Power's ownership equity in Good Start consists of a single bearer share of a company stock. One share. That single bearer share was issued to Lau on about June 2009, even before the joint venture was signed. That single bearer share was issued to Low on June 2, 2009, 7 days before he opened the Good Start account. In exchange for that single share, Low paid $1. That company, Good Start, has one share, $1 only. Empty lah, please. And this is what happens. How can 700 million be diverted to a $1 company owned by Jolo, the good friend of Rizal Aziz, the stepson of the Prime Minister, the good friend of the Prime Minister? You tell me. And then, at page 18, paragraph 56, the Malaysian Public Accounts Committee, within the Malaysian Parliament, responsible for examining accounts of public authorities and other bodies administering public funds, conducted an examination of 1MDB and its financial activities. And he produced a public and non-public report of his finding. According to the English language translation of the public report available on the PAC website, so it cannot be hanky-panky, cannot be adulterated or forged. This PAC report available on its website. Scumbags. The audit asked, tasked by the PAC, to examine what activists were unable to validate documents related to PetroSaudi's purported 700 million. No documents to validate the 700 million. So who's lying? Who's lying? You can't even challenge the report of PAC. And the chairman of PAC is who? Your nominee, UMNO's nominee, the scumbag who tried to cover up. Okay? Now, you may blast the rude Malays, rude Chinese, rude Indians in the villages in the rural area. Alright? And spin. But there's so much you can lie. You know why? Because in the complaint filed by DOJ, they could even show telephone conversations, the entire transcript of telephone conversations, most probably by NSA, the National Security Agency of America. Okay? There were conversations on September 30th, 2009 between one MDB officer number 1 and Deutsche Bank, and also conversation between Deutsche Bank and Bank Nagara officials. Why? Because Deutsche Bank, when asked to remit 700 million US dollars to Good Star, they must have verification that Good Star is the rightful recipient of this money, because the money is supposed to go to the joint venture company. And in that report, there were details, conversations. At para 67, page 21 of the report. And it goes on to para 68, para 73, 74, 75, 76, and all the way to para 78, 79, 80. These are telephone conversations. You can't lie. You can't cheat anymore. And there are more telephone conversations, I'm telling you, that will be exposed. And yet, you say, Ramadalan, you hollow scumbag, you mental retard, I challenge you to a public debate. If not, sue me in court. You scoundrel, sue me in court. And prove to the whole country what you say. That the DOJ complaint for seizure of assets rests on Sarat report and nothing else. Shame, shame, shame. I'm not calling you a liar, a scumbag. Sue me! I dare you. Why have you not made reference to these conversations? Why have you not made reference to PAC report? We said it very clearly in the DOJ complaint. But you chose to mislead. Huh? That the entire complaint is based on Sarat report. Don't you have any shame? You're a minister, a member of MKT. What is your motive then to do this? You as member of the leadership of UMNO declare, you scumbag, that you're a champion for agama, negara, tabangsa. You're a protector of your race, religion, and country. Is that how you protect your religion? Islam? Is that how you protect the country? Malaysia? Is that how you protect the honest, hard-working Bumiputra community? You're a scumbag. In fact, you are not a champion. You're not a protector of Islam, of Malaysia, or the Malays. In fact, you have betrayed them by your lies. damn lies and bullshit. I'm now give you an open challenge, Ramadala. Debate with me, you scumbag, or forever zip your mouth, shut your gap, and go into the rabbit hole and never come out again. Okay? Otak malas lah you. Lazy brain, pea brain. You're worse than Sharizat and Shabrichik. You're worse. Because you utter lies and falsehoods. And because of your actions and your colleagues and the Prime Minister and the recent Supreme Council meeting, you have therefore told the whole world that our country is bankrupt. And yet, when Hadi of PAS submitted a motion for debate in Parliament on 25th of July, correct me if I'm wrong, or whatever date, to introduce Sharia enhancement of penalties. And tell the whole country, Sharia is the answer to the crimes, to criminality in Malaysia. And UMNO supported that motion to promote unity among Muslims. Yet, in the advocating of Sharia law, pretend that you're fighting for morality. You have in fact destroyed morality, destroyed Sharia, and subverted the purity of Islam. Because you told lies. And more lies. And lies and lies and bullshit. Can you imagine? The Deputy Youth Chief of PAS proudly proclaimed to the whole world, I'm so proud that we were able to convince Selena Gomez, a non-LET pop star, to redress herself in the pop concert. Hadi, the champion of PAS, of Agama, Negara dan Bangsa, says the only thing he can say after the disclosure of the DOJ complaint, this is but an interference of the United States of America in the political affairs of a country. By making a statement, it shows very clearly he has not read the complaint or consulted any lawyers as to the implications of the complaint, or to say how Sharia law, which he wants to introduce in Malaysia, will help eradicate such rubbish, such corruption, such criminality. And these are the so-called protectors and defenders. They don't have the guts, the courage of the conviction, the moral fiber, the faith in Almighty God to put right what's gone so wrong in our country. And by their statements, they have now exhorted the whole country to pray the mantra of Najib. Cash is king. And to worship at the altar of the money god. Ignoring the fact that 1 MDB, tattoo these words in your mind, 1 MDB is the vehicle for the establishment of a political slush fund to perpetuate absolute power and nothing more. So what God do you want us to pray to? The one true God, the one true law of morality, of goodness against evil, or the money god? You tell me. Scumbags, you tell me. Is this not an illustration that our country is broken? It's beyond repair and beyond redemption. Why? This is the reason. Both Hadi and Najib are the quest, umbrella quest for absolute power. When absolute power is the motive, and money, greed is the fuel that serves that motive. The call for unity, Malay unity, Muslim unity, is but a camouflage for the evil intentions. The capacity to destroy will become very dangerous. Very dangerous. I therefore appeal to you, all of you, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Sikhs, Baha'is, whatever. Look into your hearts. Is evil residing there? The evil of corruption, praying to the money god. Examine yourself. And purge the evil of silence. Purge the evil of inaction. Purge the turning of the blind eye to evil. We must put down the evil of injustice, the evil of greed, the evil of corruption. We must end this decadence. We must save the soul of Malaysia and must reclaim our integrity. It's not just the evil of corruption and money laundering. The evil of silence in your hearts. Because you put priority and preference to your stomach than truth and justice. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. That is evil in itself. The country demands action. The country demands justice. You can't sit pat. More so, those leaders who call themselves champions and protector of agama negara dan bangsa. Let me tell you, my fellow Malaysians, if truth matters to you, then believe that truth is the most powerful weapon to destroy evil and the enemies associated with evil. And it's our agenda. We must stop the degradation, the devaluation, the destruction of our values, our integrity, our cherished truths. This is the practical agenda which I invite you to join me. Invite all of you to join me on this agenda. We cannot turn our eyes away from truth. We cannot shut out from our ears the truth. And we cannot remain silent when truth is trampled. We are in dire situation, fellow Malaysians. I've said so often, we are in dire situation. And Najib and past Hadi, in collaboration with these scumbags, can only get away with this crime, with this subversion of our beloved religion, with this degradation and destruction of our very soul, is when we remain silent. We speak not, we hear not, and we see not. Even when the dirt, the shit, the cesspool is right in front of you, we turn away. And yet, every day, in temples, church, mosques, we are told to uphold the fundamental principle of our religion. To believe in God Almighty, to love Him, adore Him, and to love our neighbor. If we are to worship the one true God, to adore Him and love Him, and hold on to that promise, His promise, then how can we remain silent? Hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. when the call is for justice, truth. Truth to spread throughout the whole country. Alright? So let me end this again. My usual address. Please surrender completely to the will of the Almighty. Have absolute faith that He will protect us, defend us, and guide us under all circumstances in the face of all enemies and adversities. Please have faith. Fear not evil. For God has made a covenant with us that truth will prevail. His love for us will guide us and protect us in this other's journey. So let me say to all of you in conclusion, join me as one. Let our unity be a genuine unity, not a false unity that's been promoted by the Najib regime and past Hadi. Those are false unity. It will lead you nowhere. There's only one unity. Unity with God Almighty. Have absolute faith in Him and surrender to His will. With that, I thank you once again for your attention and wish you a good day.